couple pieces of big news today. The United 2026 Canada-Mexico US bid has won, so we will be hosting the World Cup after Qatar 8 years from now. It'll be the largest World Cup ever because of the expansion to 48 teams and also 3 countries hosting it. For the first time ever, a tri-nation bid, the great North American bid of Canada, Mexico, and the United States. It'll be Canada's first time ever hosting it, the USA's second time, and Mexico's third time. I'm excited. I'm pretty happy about that. For many reasons, I support the United bid for several reasons, which I stated in a previous video a few months ago. I will not get into that here. So my reaction to that is, the last few days we've been getting updates that Morocco was leaking votes, that some countries in Africa were pulling away from them, UEFA member states were pulling away from them, and then I started to think, wow, this is a good sign. Didn't say anything because I didn't want to jinx anything, but I'm really happy about this. And look, I mean, for me, from my standpoint, if it was in Morocco, I kind of would not mind either because it's a great tourist destination. I've never been to Morocco. I always wanted to go. I speak the language. The dialect accent's a little bit different, if you're an Egyptian Arabic speaker, but still. So, but I live in the U.S. I'm an American too. And of course, I wanted us to win this bid for many reasons. I think we're more qualified to do it. Objectively speaking, I don't know if you can come across many stronger bids in the world than the bid that we put up to FIFA. The strong argument that we made, the case that we made. And look, I mean, I know Morocco, they've missed out many times, but I think this is their 5th time that they've lost when they've bid. The thing is this, the next time they bid, we're going to get further and further away from the last time an African country hosted the World Cup. South Africa was the first in 2010. So by 2030, it'll be 20 years. Usually when a confederation goes longer without hosting a World Cup, it increases that confederation's chances. There was no way in hell Morocco were going to get the 2018 World Cup. There was no way in hell they were going to get 2022. 2026 was a stretch because 16 years after Africa hosted it. Yeah, it's 16 years, but it's still like the base minimum of a long gap. The only confederation that used to host every other World Cup was Europe. But there's reasons why. Because European countries tend to have the infrastructure. They tend to have the finances for it. They tend to have a whole bunch of things. And even though Morocco has a bunch of things going for it, it has football culture, it has passionate fans, it's a safe country, it's a great country. There's a bunch of issues regarding stadiums and, finances as well. So, I mean, I'm happy that the U.S. won the bid. Of course I'm happy. I get to, if I'm alive in 2026, hopefully, I maybe get to attend a World Cup in my lifetime. So, I think it's excellent. I think it's also great for continuing to grow the sport in the United States, especially in Canada. This is going to have an effect on Canada, like how the USA 94 had an effect on the US. And then Mexico, of course. You become the first country ever in the world to host the World Cup for a 3rd time. Of course you're going to take the deal. Even if you're hosting less matches, of course you're going to take it. So yeah, pretty happy with that. So moving on to the second piece of news. This is shocking. Julen Lopetegui, the Spanish national team manager, has been sacked by the Spanish FA because apparently he was going to take over the Real Madrid job as Zidane's replacement, and he didn't handle that well. He announced it just a couple of days ago, And this infuriated Rubiales, the president of the Spanish FA, who considered it a disrespectful thing for the national team this close to a World Cup. Julen Lopetegui did not handle it well. He didn't handle the announcement well, and now we are 1 day away from the World Cup. If you hear a power drill, there's nothing I can do about it. We're 1 day away from the World Cup, and the Spain's manager gets sacked. Has this ever happened before? Ever? In the history of the World Cup? But here's the thing. The way that Julen Lopetegui handled this, it makes sense why the Spanish FA would seek to punish him for this disrespectful announcement. He could have done it after the World Cup. But at the same time, I can't see how this is good for the team. It's not like this was a manager who was losing the players' confidence. He was getting a string of bad results. I had someone mention the draw against Switzerland and the narrow win over Tunisia. But Tunisia and Switzerland are very decent teams, and these are friendlies after all. I mean, Spain absolutely blitzed their qualifying group. They're undefeated under Lopetegui. And I said it before, heading into this tournament, Spain have arguably been the most informed European team. I had them in the final a few days ago before this all broke out. I started thinking, you know what? I think they'll fall short of the final and get to the semis. So up until today, here's a spoiler, up until today, I had Spain getting to the semifinals. I had Spain finishing in the semifinals. But the thing is like this. Even if this new guy, Pharaoh, he's part of the national team 15 or so years ago, even if he comes in and he doesn't change much of Lopetegui's tactics, this still has an effect on your team, man. The day before a World Cup. I mean, I don't know how this is going to affect Spain. Because apparently several of the players were lobbying to get Lopetegui to stay. And he was only sacked because of this move of disrespect that he did towards Spanish football. I have no idea how this affects Spain. I don't know. Because people who say Lopetegui was a bad manager, no, he was not. No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. Since Euro 2016, Spain has moved on from tiki-taka. They still play a tiki-taka, high-pressing in midfield, suffocating, narrow-passing type of game. But it's evolved. And Lopetegui, I view as a younger, fresher, better successor to Vicente Del Bosque. But he with this decision, with this announcement, that was a really big bonehead move. And here's the thing. Like I said, even if Pharaoh's a decent guy, even if he's a decent manager, psychologically to a team, even if you feel you got your tactics ready, how do you enter a World Cup just with a change like that? I mean, I'll tell you what, if Spain gets to the final or Spain wins this World Cup, it has to be a first. It has to be a first. Because normally, if you're any other team, this fucking destroys you. I don't know, though, because Spain are still a very professional side. And they are one of the best teams in the world. And they are one of the favorites to win this tournament. Are we really going to pick them to crash out in the group stages now? I got to make my predictions later today. Because we're now less than a day before the World Cup. Guys, less than 1 day. So, thank you, Julen Lopetegui. You made this a lot harder. It's not good. I don't view it as good. So here's the thing. What the Spanish FA did, in principle, was the right thing. Pragmatically, realistically, I don't know. So, because this is an issue of principle against pragmatism. In principle, hell yeah, if a manager of a national team disrespects the FA, get him out. Because you're supposed to be the manager of a team that represents your country. Pragmatically, when Spain kicks off 48 hours from now, I don't know, especially when they're opening the group against Portugal. I don't know. So, how do you feel? Do you think it was the right decision? Do you feel it was the worst decision possible? And if so, do you think it's going to cost Spain a deep run in this tournament or not really? How do you feel?